Once upon a time in a quiet village, carved between the mountains and the sea, there lived a radiant young woman named Amara. Her skin glowed like polished mahogany. Her eyes were deep like ancestral wells, and her spirit shone brighter than the morning sun and dewy leaves. Life in the village was simple but full of love. Amara was in her 30s, full of dreams, and carried the weight of a broken childhood, one without a father. So when she met a man who showed her affection, she clung to the idea of building the family. She never had their love was rocky from the start, off and on for 7 long years. She watched him spiral in and out of jail, crimes piling up, but her heart held on. Because broken girls often try to fix broken men, she made sacrifice after sacrifice, just to hold the family together. But love, when one-sided, becomes poison. Amara hit rock bottom. Eventually, things got worse. Unable to provide for herself or her daughter, out of desperation, she accepted his offer to move in. The house was small, the energy heavy, but it was shelter. She traveled miles each day just to work, often returning with just enough money, just for taxi fare. But the moment he got a car, he changed. He met another woman online, and everything about Amara became not enough. Not pretty enough, not smart enough, not what he wanted. Things got so bad. He told her to sleep on the floor and not in his bed. He told her that she was not welcome to drive in his car. He told her that his front seat in the car was reserved for another woman who was married with 2 kids. For 2 different fathers. And so, the kind of woman he attracted. Amara was different from those women, and thus he didn't see her as equal. He saw her as his competition and not a partner. Every time he returned from his escapades, he brought back souvenirs. Other women, clothes, even their underwear. It would often cause argument inside the house, and he would tell her every chance he get to stay out of his business. And he's not getting rid of the clothes. Amara confronted him only to be cursed out, belittled, and told to leave his house. He stopped providing for his daughter, spending everything on the new woman. Amara began to believe he was under some kind of spell. The woman had 3 children by 3 different men and was known to use witchcraft to hold men captive. Their daughter was traumatized. "Mommy," she whispered one night, "is Daddy going to hurt us?" She asked that question because in front of him, Daddy said to Mommy, "I should have unalived you." And Mom had no choice but to call the police. One night, he shoved her in the head in front of their daughter. And she got so scared she shouted and stopped on top of her voice, "Leave my mommy alone." She said, "Mom, don't sleep in the house, let us go." But he could care less, being the narcissist that he is. He laughed it off as if nothing ever happened, and expected Amara to apologize or to beg him to stay. The police came more than once. Neighbors heard the screaming, but every time Amara stayed afraid, ashamed and uncertain, until one day she didn't. While he was at work, Amara took her daughter and left no note. No goodbye, just courage and silence. The first few weeks were rough. Cold nights, uncertainty. But for the first time in a long time, Amara felt peace. And that's when everything began to change. Amara used to pray and said, "God, I would cry here, but I will not die here. God, when I leave, do not make me into a mockery, and let my enemies rejoice over my heart." Amara used to wake up in the midnight hours and the 3 a.m. hours to pray, when everyone was asleep, and in the silence, in the stillness of the night, when she could hear God's voice, and she knew that God was working it out. She knew that God didn't want her into that situation, and so she found the courage to leave. And within 90 days, the first 2 weeks was the hardest. She would often cry herself to sleep, filled with anger and rage. Wanted to take revenge. She was broken. But God is able, and she said, God, within 90 days, I wanted to transform my life to the point where I am unrecognizable. And within 90 days, her grandmother bought her a piece of land. Within 90 days, she started constructing her own home. Within 90 days, she told herself that she was going to launch her first book, and the book that she wrote for her daughter. And within 90 days, they were published. Her long-stall visa was approved. And finally, she and her daughter boarded the plane, leaving the pain behind to start a new life. Amara became a real estate investor because she was always interested in investing. She also became a best-selling author, and she started her clothing line, a fashion entrepreneur, something she has always wanted to do in recognition of her daughter, and so she launched the branch that was called From Ashes to Gold. What was meant to break her only built her. You see, the fire that tried to consume her was the fire that freed her. Never let broken beginnings convince you that you are not worthy of beautiful endings. God can turn your captivity into creativity, your pain into power, and your ashes into legacy.